to the Central Barrens Commission meeting of November 15th. Could all please rise for the pledge of allegiance led by Mr. Rita.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everyone to our November meeting of Central Barrens Commission. We'll get into the agenda. We start with the public comments. Is there anybody in the public who would like to address us at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion for now and move on. The next item I have on the agenda is the minutes from October 18th. Everybody should have received a copy of those minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Shea, second by Mr. Dale to adopt the minutes as submitted. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? They are adopted. Okay, item C, draft the 2023 commission meeting schedule. Everybody should have received a copy of the proposed dates.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a correction, it's for 2024,
2024.
and also, the only issue with this schedule is the June meeting. They're suggesting to move the normal third Wednesday to June 26th, because the third Wednesday falls on the 15th, which is a holiday. So it's just, the only one that's been an outlier, what we usually do in terms of meetings.
The proposed. You none? Take a motion. Now. Everybody say, so set the meeting minutes for 2024, meeting dates for 2024. In favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Approved. Item number 2A, Education and Outreach Division updating. Mr. Mopes.
Good afternoon. An exciting start by this year. Those of you who don't know, I started up in July. We're going straight from the Barrens to Bay Camp right into the Day in the Life program, which we just wrapped up our 13th season of just about 10 days ago. As you know, we partnered with Brookhaven National Lab and the DEC on this project, and I thought just something I wanted to mention to you that one of our partners with the DEC said recently, but I thought really summarized that basically a lot of people may have thought of our rivers and waterways as essentially repositories of stormwater runoff as actual thriving ecosystem. Well, that really put it well. And so the education component of this program is inspiring our kids to hopefully go into careers of science and have more care for nature overall. To that end, this year we made some pretty great strides, I think, in bringing back a number of the events that and schools who had not been involved as much since the COVID pandemic. In total, we had 13 events this year, up from around 8 or so last year. This is from East Rockaway all the way out to the East End. And this has really helped us to, I want to mention, we brought some back in, some schools that have not been involved as much since COVID, but also we took more of a direct administrative responsibility for a couple of ones as well. So all that added to about 5 additional programs. Overall, more than 40 schools total were involved this year. Biggest participations we saw was the Conic Estuary, which went from about 6 to 9 schools, and this River was the other, I believe, that went from 6 to 9. Also, the Connecticut River was the only place we saw participation go down a little bit due to some school scheduling conflicts, which we'll try to resolve for next year. The one I wanted to show you the photo of on the board here, I don't know if you can tell in that picture, but it is absolutely torrentially raining. So I just want to show you the spirit of some of these kids who are getting out and doing this, even in the toughest conditions. Almost 2,000 kids, I think, we had participated this year. And I also want to mention, of course, in addition to the kids, we have experts from numerous environmental organizations who really put their heart and soul in this program, come out and show the kids how to do their various chemical and biological testing and sampling. So that's really great. Now that we've wrapped up the year, we're turning our focus to just sizing up everything we do, let's see where we could improve. Top on that list is going to be sizing up our data collection methods, try to make it more centralized. Bring it to a single website where teachers can download their information, and it'll be hopefully a little bit more meaningful for everyone that's involved. That is pretty much our top focus. We'll be discussing that next week when we all get together. Moving on from day in the life on the communications front, just to note real quickly, we had a really nice coverage of this year's NIWEMA Academy, which I know Catherine, I believe we'll talk a little bit more about later. NBC News working on a pretty comprehensive story, having spent the day out there. The Word Red News reviewed the ISO Bulletin, also wrote very nice stories, which focus on the importance of the training and the significant wildfire threat here on Long Island, which is the kind of the points we really wanted to emphasize. So that was great. Just a couple of quick notes from my responsibilities. The Friends of Worth approved by budget recently for the 2024 Barrens Debate Camp. It allows us to continue and actually enhance some of the activities we engage with the kids while still providing a pretty healthy revenue surplus for them. And work finally is underway on the Commission's 2023 annual report, which you may recall last year we did a pretty substantial overhaul to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing and a little bit more user-friendly to the general public. So we'll be unveiling that for you at my next update, which will be in January. Anyone have any questions?
Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, our next item, science and stewardship.
Good afternoon. I wanted to introduce Michael Whittemore. He is our new ecologist with the Central Pine Barrens Commission. He started in October. So he comes to us from Massachusetts, where he's been working for the last 5 years on Martha's Vineyard, helping to manage sandplain grasslands and pine barren systems. So he's coming to us very knowledgeable on the ecosystem, the area, many connections with people that we already work with. So maybe if you have anything you want to share.
I think you summed it up pretty well. I'm very happy to be here.
But Mike is, general overall strong researcher, botanist, and he also is very involved in the community. He's worked with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and has a little brother that he's been mentoring for many years. So I'm excited to have him on board, and he's very much going to help continue to have the Science and Stewardship program grow in the commission as a whole. So.
Question besides curiosity, we get the Martha's Vineyard field work, and that's what they apply. Where did you do your academic?
I'm sorry?
Where did you do your academic work?
Ohio. So I did my thesis out in Ohio, and
Where in Ohio?
that would be southeastern Ohio, so Ohio University.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you from Ohio originally?
I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Okay.
My family's there.
So for the work that we've been doing for prescribed fire, thank you to everyone that provided letters of support for the community wildfire defense grants. We submitted two, one for the development of the Southampton Pine Barrens community wildfire prevention area. That was for $275,000, and with that funding, if we're awarded, we'll be able to develop that action plan to identify priorities for reducing wildfire risk within the Pine Barrens occurring in the town of Southampton. And then we also submitted a $4.9 million request for the implementation of wildfire risk reduction under the Ridge Calverton Manorville CWPP. So that's would support the prescribed fire program, the implementation of homeowner risk mitigation on private properties, and then also support NIWEMA and hosting the classes related to prescribed fire. So provide a significant amount of money in supporting NIWEMA moving forward. So I did attend the National Cohesive Wildland Fire Strategy meeting in New Mexico, which I just returned from. And they had a presentation on the CWBG and the ranking. It's a nationally ranked funding. So we are competing with everyone across the United States. It's not just clustered into regions. So we ranked high on the 4 major categories in that capacity. And so it comes down really to the justification and need in our grant writing. And that they're not, I did ask specifically on how the Northeast could get boosted, or if there's a way that we can be more competitive. And because it's a nationally funded program, they don't break the funding into pots across the United States. So that they had suggested some other revenue and funding if we aren't successful in this capacity, just because it's so very competitive. but they recognize that we are, managing areas in high urban interface, and so we're doing much smaller, land areas, so instead of just measuring by how many acres treated or, units burned, of recognizing what's being protected, number of people, number of, homes, infrastructure, and things like that, so. Hopefully we'll rank well, and we'll find out on that in February. We have the memorandum of understanding with Suffolk County has been signed by Judy, so we're just waiting for the final signatures to have that executed, and then we'll be moving forward to reaching out to the towns to advance MOUs with you. The fire truck is planned to be picked up the last week of November, so that's very exciting. It's been stickered, we got new tires on it, it's going for its final inspection, so we just need to get it registered, and that'll be delivered, so hopefully I have some pictures to show you, and if you want to stop over at the office and you're passing through and see it. Our new, most expensive thing I've ever bought in my life. So, and I'm glad I didn't pay for it myself. For education and outreach, I did present at the Santa Fe conference of the National Cohesive Strategy on the prescribed fire programming that we've collectively been advancing. I was one of 2 people that were asked to present in that capacity, and it was very well attended and made some great connections with the Forest Service. To help support our funding and our programming, and also connect with other individuals who are doing similar work across the country to help bolster the work that we're doing. And then the lion's share of what we have been working on for the last month and a half has really been helping to support NYMEMA. For the 2 weeks of NYMEMA proper, we helped facilitate the S212 class, the post class, and Chris Steigerwald, who joined us from the DEC most recently as our ecological field specialist. He opened his task book to get his second qualification for the next step of Sawyer training, and he helped participate as a mentor in that class and in the field. And we also helped secure the site access for the field work. Chris and Sam also helped facilitate the availability of the UTVs for the UTV operations, and also for the any operations that involved fire, so that 219 class and the 130, 190, Sam helped mentor as well. And then Frank, which I'm sure Frank will talk about it, hosted the UAS and drone class, and Sam helped participate in the training at that as well. And Mike and Sam successfully completed the pumps training, which is a really important class for what we're doing with the prescribed fire. All of our operations revolve around the use of pumps for contingency purposes and putting on wet lines for our fire operations. So maintaining those pumps and using them properly is really important. So, and I'd say the last significant success was getting seed on the ground as far as one of the pending cases that we have in Manorville. That phase of restoration has made it through the first full phase of grading, burying the organic matter, removing the debris off-site, seeding and putting deer fencing up. And so now we're looking forward to having the seed germinate and continue success in that program and closing that encroachment issue. So any questions?
Like Santa Fe.
Santa Fe is wonderful. Yeah. Good food, good people, beautiful architecture. So from building codes and things, they have to keep everything under 3 certain elevations, certain height. And then they use all the floodwood adobe building structures. So even if it's a big building like this, they would encode it in the stucco to make it the round windows and it's just a whole different aesthetic. All very fire-wise planned, and they, because it's in the desert, everything, they're collecting all the water. So really interesting to see all the different planning techniques that they've put in place in that capacity, and also what little water that they have in the rivers that are just dry beds. So questions? Great, thanks.
Thank you, Molly. Okay, next item is the wildfire, NYMEMA.
Okay, we just wrapped up the New York Wildfire and Incident Management Academy. It ran from October 19th to the 27th. Took place at Brookhaven National Lab, Suffolk County Water Authority in Quorum, and Suffolk County Fire Rescue During this period, a total of 216 students participated in 13 classes. They represented 17 states, 80 different agencies, local, federal, and state levels. In addition, you're also able to train firefighters from Canada as well. At the local level, the Academy offered free training to Nassau and Suffolk volunteer firefighters in wildland firefighter training. Volunteers from 10 local fire departments took advantage of our classes offered. This academy was also a collaborative effort, which included 30 overhead team members and 28 instructors from federal, state, and local agencies. The academy continued its strong partnership with the Colorado Wildfire Academy and the New York State Incident Management Team. We're grateful for all the help and cooperation of our partners, including New York State DEC, Brookhaven National Lab, and Suffolk County.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, the planning, land use, and time grant credit programs. Go to A, compliance and enforcement division, Mr. Carmel. Good afternoon.
The academy, we provided 2 classes there. We did the like an awareness overview of the 107, overview of UAS, and then the 107 class is the class they need to prepare to take the FAA test. We provided that class, both classes, to about 21 students. No issues, very good reviews. Everybody seemed pretty happy with that. Like Polly mentioned, Sam assisted in the instruction, and I had the student police assist me in the instruction as well. Sergeant Dozell. In-house, we did a 107 prep course prior to that. That was attended by Mike. Mike's preparing to get his 107. And there was 2 Suffolk County deputies in that class. We plan on doing another in-house class for Tim to get him up to speed. He can get his 107 and introduce UAS into his program and capture a lot more imagery going forward. We purchased the 2 new drones that we put in for last spring. They finally showed up, and we did get them all registered and marked up, and we used them on a aerial survey of the Alphatano property recently. And I'm bringing mapping to the program where we can use the drone to map the area. So we did both a free flight of the area, and then we mapped the area where the drone flies a series of coordinated flight.
Yeah.
And takes multiple pictures, and then a software program takes those pictures and puts them all together. It's like another meeting going on outside the door. We made some improvements on the GIS tracking system, where we put all of our complaints and moved the primarily all of our complaint informations, everything that we do regarding complaints and violations into this system, along with our in-house server. So we're pretty much doing everything paperless now. We're not doing too many paper files at all. So we've gone almost fully paperless. As far as complaints, picked up 22 complaints this year, this period, 15 of which were dumping, and we have a bunch of dispositions pending. In this period, we did get some sites cleaned up. I'm still just waiting for the final disposition. Then on the second page, you can see where we are in our numbers, with some complaints, some violations that just came up. We're gonna be finishing the year somewhere around 115 to 120 total, which is about double of last year. With the landfill closing and everything that's been going on, I'm expecting that that's only gonna increase. And we look to put on to fill the position that was vacated by Officer Enright. We're doing interviews in 2 weeks, right after Thanksgiving. And I would say maybe by January, we should have a new officer. Questions? Anything? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, the next item is venue visit, Sergeant.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My report is in your packet. The purpose is to summarize some of the upcoming applications and decisions coming up. So in Brookhaven Town, the Life of PSCG Medford decision is expected next month. That's a compatible growth area hardship waiver and development of regional significance. We're waiting on some more information from the applicant for that, including their hardship petition, which they're completing. The public hearing was last month. The New York Cancer and Blood Specialists core hardship application is expected to return to you next month. For their extension was through to December 20th. So we'll either hear if they're going to move ahead with the decision, that's the deadline, or extend it further or withdraw the application. I'm not sure. Today, the Taco Bell Manorville 111 application is on for a decision. And moving to the town of Riverhead, the Venezia Square compatible growth area development of regional significance application is on for potentially a decision next month. I think the Riverhead town was completing the secret process for that project. So it may be extended again if that's not completed, but we expect that to be soon. And in Southampton town, there are a few applications pending. The CVE solar application at West Hampton Property Associates Sand Mine. That's a project to develop a solar facility on a sand mine. And the public hearing occurred in September, and that is on the agenda today, requesting an extension so that this decision would potentially be next month. We're also waiting for maybe some more information from that applicant based on the supplemental information that was put into the record last month on the 2 times in the past when the commission has amended an easement. Because that project also involves the amendment, or they're proposing to amend an easement that required that site to be restored to natural vegetation when sand mining is completed in 2047. And now the solar development would be in the place where the sand mine. So they would be contrary to that commitment that the applicant had made in the past. And then Gosselin core hardship application that's on today for a public hearing. That's you'll hear more about that at 3 o'clock. We continue to receive application. I'm sorry, there's one more application that should have been in the application section, which is on your agenda today, also to schedule a public hearing, the Ralph Schenk core hardship. That's a property less than 2 acres in the core preservation area in West Hampton, just south of our office. There's 2 buildings presently on the site. They would like to expand one of the buildings for this growing business that is a tenant on that property. So that's on to schedule a hearing. And everything else continues to be busy at office. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a brief update on the credit program statistics for this year. 35 letter of interpretation were issued, and 13 easements have been recorded, which generated close to 5 credits. 15 credits have been redeemed, most of them through the Suffolk County Health Department for the commercial projects. 24 credits have been sold with the average different price in each town, 115,000 in the town of Brookhaven, 86,000 in the town of Riverhead, and 95,000 per credit in Southampton. And the total average is just a little bit over 100,000 per credit.
What's the Brookhaven average?
Brookhaven is 115,000.
Did you pay in the auction?
At the auction, we paid 106,000, 100,000.
Thank you.
50 sites with the road access have been inspected. And one of them is Boy Scout property in the town of Riverhead. This is the largest property that we have in the program. They have some large infestation, pine beetle infestation areas. In this spring, the commission approved the cutting of those trees for the safety reasons. We just recently visited the site, and the cutting is almost complete. Close to 1,400 trees have been cut. In terms of the financial report, the total 3.4 million in the bank of the commission. In terms of the interest, we had 2,000 this year. And just recently we spent close to 70,000 to purchase 0.65 credits. And another 2.2 credits expected to be purchased after the 4 easements are recorded. So that's all I have. If you have any questions.
I actually don't have a physical resolution taken out today. We have drafted a whole harmless agreement for Suffolk County and we sent it over to them to review before bringing forward to you folks to, but we would like to, at least at this point, have a resolution to approve moving forward with providing Suffolk County with a full harmless agreement in reference to the them transferring back to the commission of credit program funds that they were administering on behalf of the commission.
And I can, so this was drafted yesterday. I sent it to Dennis Brown, county attorney, and the county is holding $2.25 million of the commission's clearinghouse funds. We've talked about this repeatedly. So they asked that they would return the money if we gave them a hold harmless. So we, the hold harmless is we're holding them harmless for following our direction to return our money. So bankers asked for them hold harmless to withdraw your funds. I asked the county for hold harmless to make sure that they didn't pledge that money, covenant that money, restrict that money, use that money in any sense. And they pushed back a little bit on it, which I expected. And then Free Right and I just were on the phone before I got here, and we agreed on language of the county's hold harmless. So they basically will indemnify the commission against any law or a statement that they made the agreement not being true, and the statements are they haven't pledged money, they didn't cover it. So I think everything is going to be acceptable to the county, it's acceptable to us. Free just had to check with Dennis one more time to make sure that the modification of the county's obligation to the commission was acceptable. I don't see an email from her approving it yet. I expect it today. So this is done, and this was the last checkpoint we had to cross to go through for the county to release the money. So if you approve it in subject to council's approval, once it's we get the word from Free and it's acceptable, Judy can sign it, get it back to the county. I mean, I think there's 4 signatures on the county. And then we can get a check for the money, which is good. And thank you. And Judy can do all the thanks, but this was Judy's idea. It was a good idea, and this is exactly why she wanted the money back, because it took us how many years? 2. And we're all remembering.
Speed of government.
Speed of government. I work for the authority. It's glacial.
And I'm very grateful to Rob and DEC for providing the letter to the county with regard to the return of the $5 million loan and the status of the remaining funds that were on to the commission. And that really helped, expedite things to get to this point where we look forward to hopefully seeing a check soon. And that money is totally dedicated to credit program. That's what that money is for. And that's what it'll be used for.
And Judy opened up an account at the water authority essentially, which is segregated.
Yes, there's a segregated account just for clearinghouse funds. So it's really totally dedicated to that program.
Okay, any questions? So I'm looking for a motion to authorize council to send a hold harmless letter to the county so that we can finalize this transaction with the county, that release our clearinghouse funds. And a motion from Shay, second by Ms. Hurley, anybody on the issue? Both in favor, aye, opposed, abstentions,
So the minutes are gonna read authorizing Judy.
authorizing. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, core preservation area, item D, CVE North America Solar at West Hampton Property Associates. Ms. Hargrave, they are asking for an extension, is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so they've asked for a 1 month extension in the decision deadline. Anything a motion? Now. Second by Mr. Brita to extend the decision deadline to December. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions. Approved. E, Ralph Shank Core Preservation Area Hardship Waiver Application. Sorry.
This is to schedule a public hearing next month. I think that would be the only hearing on your agenda next month, December 20th. Again, this is an expansion of commercial development, commercial use. And this site was the subject of a hardship in the past in 1997.
Okay.
So there has already been one hardship on this, but yeah, this is just to schedule a hearing.
Schedule it. Okay, so
I'll make a motion to schedule the hearing for December.
a motion from Mr. Sherry, second by Mr. Dell, to the public hearing for our next meeting, December 20th. All those in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions, approved. Okay, Taco Bell and Nangonga, core preservation area hardship waiver application. Ms. Margaret,
Okay, thank you. There's a draft resolution was sent late yesterday. Sorry for the delay on that, but it was also published and given to the applicant. It was put on the website, I mean, and the applicant has it, the applicant's attorney, at least Need, is not here today, but he has seen the decision and he didn't have any changes. It is to approve this core hardship, which does require other permits, including a zone change at the town of Brookhaven. So it still has a number of other regulatory hurdles, but for the commission, this was explained in the decision that the site is being reused. There is a restaurant. It's hasn't been used since 2019. It's ceased operations. And the new building is smaller than the existing building. There'll be some revegetation on the property. The site is on a commercial corridor to some extent. It is in the core, but again, it's presently developed and being reused. So that was determined to be potentially beneficial as opposed to using an undeveloped site. It would not result in the substantial impairment of the resources of the core. Again, the applicant has attempted to attract tenant with no success for several years, and the operation is abandoned. So there are a number of conditions. This approval would be valid for only 5 years. The commission has been placing expiration dates on approvals in the recent past. They obviously need to go forward and get any of their other decisions from the town, the county, their DPW. They're going to change the curb cuts and modify some of the curb cuts. on the property. They do have the benefit of the traffic light at Chapman Boulevard and County Road 111 in Manorville. So this could potentially attract more traffic. Maybe the town will be looking at that further, but they do have the traffic light and in terms of the drive-through use. And then other conditions involve landscaping plan would need to be submitted. They need to protect the area that's going to remain natural. They need to submit signage plans to make sure the signing is not excessive and overly lit and is in keeping with the character of the Pine Barrens. Lighting plan with dark skies fixtures. Obviously, the town code has dark skies regulations, so it needs to be compliant with those. And covenant barring that no additional development could occur on this project site. And that this waiver is only for this project. There are other uses in the zoning district that they're seeking in the zoning category, laundromat, gas station, but this waiver is only for this project for a drive-through restaurant. And any change to that would have to come back to the commission. And I think that's all. Does anyone have any questions?
Question? None? Get a motion. Motion from Mr. Rita, second by Ms. Dell to approve the resolution as drafted.
Thank you.
Any other issue? All those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Is approved. Okay, compatible growth area, life of the SE&G Long Island Medford Operations Center. Stargrave, you're asking for an extension?
Yeah.
We're doing here.
Mhm.
Okay, so they've asked for a deadline extension to the December meeting.
Yes.
Motion.
Motion from Ms. Hurley. Second. Mr. Shea. Any issue? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So we've approved the extension of the deadline decision by December meeting. Okay, at this time, we have about 20 minutes. We have a few items for closed session. Right, John? Takes a reason. We'll go into closed session.
So the items are, reports for matter, some litigation updates, and then
Okay, motion from Mr. Dell, second by Mr. Shea, to go into closed session. To, as council explained, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions. Okay, we're going to closed session at this point in time. We will return at 3 o'clock in the whole day.